Good morning. Bringing another Bible study topic sort of around Israel again. It's hard not to, because in my daily readings I'm up to Jeremiah, and all through Jeremiah it's the language is very similar to what we are seeing happen in Israel at the moment. So I'm just going to read through a portion of chapter 30 and make some comments on it, and that'll be today's breakfast Bible study. And I'll try to explain it as best I can as we go. We'll start from verse 7. You know what, we'll start even earlier, because this is quite interesting. Verse 6. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Well, we would say, no, a man doesn't travail with child. But then again, we're living in 2023. Look what it says here. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Now I find that quite interesting. The next verse we're going to read is a verse talking about the Great Tribulation. And just preceding that, we get a verse talking about what looks like men giving birth as women when they're in travail giving birth. And I just find that quite amazing the Bible puts those things together, because we're so close to the end, I would say. And what do we see? We see men getting transitioned, and then even getting women's body parts put in them so they can give birth. And it's twisted and sick, but there it is. And the Bible talked about it. Okay, look at verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, the great tribulation, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So that matches with Daniel when he talks about a time that's going to be great, not like any other day. And Jesus talks about a day there's been none like it since, and nothing will be like it in the future. And this is a time of Jacob's trouble. The church is taken out. God's attention is primarily back on the Jew, and it's his trouble. Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they, Israel, shall serve the Lord their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. That'll be in the millennium. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar. So he knew that his people would be scattered, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Now the immediate application obviously is the people of Israel are going into captivity in Babylon. But from knowing the whole Bible and some of these other verses here, that also there's a prophetic application here, because when they came back, they didn't go back to serving the Lord and David their king. And we'll see some other verses here that have not come to pass yet. Look at, yes, we'll keep going, verse 10, you'll see here. For lo, I will save them from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return. They did after Babylon, but what does it say? And shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Now that just simply didn't come to pass. It wasn't too long after the Romans came in, kicked him out, and that has not come to pass. There's another verse that talks about that they'll have peace on every side, but that just hasn't happened for any of history, but it will. Except maybe for Solomon, but obviously this is after Solomon. So it's prophetic, speaking about the future. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee. So watch out, all those nations that mistreated the Jew, he's going to make a full end of you in the future. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure. Now God takes care of his people, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. It's not up to me to punish that Jew, or to curse that Jew, or to persecute that Jew. God will chasten his people. I've been told to bless them. Verse 12, for thus saith the Lord, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thy iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Okay? Israel do sin, and they have sinned, but God will be the one to bring the chastisement. Verse 15, why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable, for the multitude of thy iniquity, because thy sins were increased. He says the same thing again, but look what he says here. I have done these things unto thee. God punishes his people, and if you have anything to see from history, God is a very firm taskmaster. He punishes them very, very firmly and hardly, but justly. because their sins are increased. Look at verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Wow. If you can't find it in yourself to bless the Jew, as God has said, I would just give you one word of advice. Leave them alone. Because you're standing against them. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but God stands against you, and justice will come. All right, we're past 5 minutes, but if you want to read, get some up-to-date context on what's happening in Israel, read the book of Jeremiah. It's just loaded with this sort of stuff, which absolutely had an application to the present time in which it was written and the time just after, but without a doubt, a lot of this is prophetic and still hasn't come to pass. But we can see how those things are still shaping up. Everyone's still against Israel, and God's going to make everything right in his time. All right, God bless you. Have a good day.